Welcome to Betting Weekly Premier League Show. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Nigel Seeley and Jack Wright. Nigel, just want to reflect on the midweek slate. First of all, only 2 home wins so far and a lot of rotation as well. I mean, team news was key. This, it seems, was the slate that a lot of managers thought, I've got to rotate because the games are just coming too thick and fast here. I have to get minutes into legs of certain players and take some players out the firing line. I thought it was hard for bettors.
Yeah, good morning to you. Good morning to Jack. I think it's sensible, isn't it? When you're fighting full competitions, you've got the FA Cup starting soon, you've got the Carabao Cup, you've got Champions League, you've got Europe. A lot of teams involved in the Premier League are involved in Europe, so you've got to use your squad wisely. The shock for me was yesterday, I was at the Arsenal-Brentford game, we'll come on to that in a little while, but Brentford rested their 5 key players for the match at Arsenal. So it shows you what the priority for Brentford and Keith Andrews is in their department. But Arsenal had the luxury to rest players, another injury for them. But I think it's a crucial time now. When you talk about Crystal Palace, I said at last week's show, they've got 8 matches in December. There's a lot of teams who've got 7, 6 matches in December. It's a busy period. You've got to use your squad wisely. And obviously that's one of the dangers when you're doing these shows on Thursday morning without even knowing what's happened in some matches. You might have to look at the team news before you place your wagers when you've got every single bit of the puzzle in front of you, and then it's easier to solve when you know what you're dealing with. So, yeah, very, very careful time of the year, but big squads can rotate and usually win, unless your name is Chelsea Football Club, where it might be a little bit different.
We'll get onto them in a little bit. Jack, look, as Nigel says, the team news was key more than any other week so far this season. A lot of market movement against some of the favourites, for some of the favourites. I mean, Martinez came out the Village side late on. As it turned out, it didn't really matter for them. But it just goes to show that, sometimes you have got to wait until you know what the teams are going to be.
Yeah, greetings to you both and to everyone else watching and listening. Yeah, absolutely. If you've got that knowledge, then that's fantastic. Obviously, we talk about it before. We've said it on live shows, etc., that if you can get across social media and get ahead of it, hearing these leaked stories coming out that key players are missing, and the key players for certain sides, and therefore they're going to drift, they're going to fade those teams, and if others are going stronger, then you can get on board with them. But we've said it a couple of times in the last couple of weeks with these games coming thick and fast. The internationals, the Champions League, midweek fixtures. There's been an incredible volume of games that we were liking a bet, but you want to wait for team news, and I think we do note that in our selections, generally speaking. So it is very crucial in English soccer coming into the festive season.
No doubt about that. Profit and loss on the screen from the boys. Minor setback midweek, but some nice unders cashing from the boys with that Burnley game. Let's talk about the weekend slate. Then we're going to kick off with what is the big game, I think, here, Nigel. It's Aston Villa versus Arsenal. It's Saturday, 7:30 Eastern. Villa are plus 325 here. Arsenal are minus 112. The minus money favourites. This is third taking on first. The Gunners are minus money, as they have been for the last 3 visits to Villa Park. They've won 2 of those 3. This is not going to be straightforward for Arsenal, isn't it? And both of these sides have had 1 or 2 injuries, as we know. How are we tackling the big game of the weekend?
Well, I think this is up there with one of the toughest visits in the Premier League at this moment in time, going to Aston Villa, who have made Villa Park a fortress. They've won their last 8 at Villa Park. They've won their last 6 in all competitions and everywhere. And they have recently, quite a decent record against Aston Villa historically in recent years. Obviously, you got the Unai Emery situation. He was the manager at Arsenal, playing his former team. Martinez, hopefully for Villa, betters he might be back. We'll have to wait on the team news for that. Obviously, a former Arsenal player here as well. But this is a tough test for Arsenal. Very, very difficult test for him. And also, it's a very difficult time ahead of the Champions League. But fortunately for Arsenal, they don't have the toughest of assignments, really, with Bruges waiting next midweek. So it's not like they have to go to a big sort of high-profile team where I think their performance may be worried about it. More interesting for Arsenal is their defensive crisis. Mosquera got injured again yesterday, come off in the match. No Saliba, no Gabriel, Mosquera, that's a defensive crisis. Timber played in centre-half last night to cover for him. That's not ideal up against an Aston Villa side who are free scoring at this moment in time. Another positive for Aston Villa, no, the negative was losing Martinez, but the positive was Ollie Watkins getting back on the score sheet, scoring 2 goals in midweek. Tremendous character they showed in that match to come back against a decent Brighton side and win 4-3 in a crazy match. And I give them a chance here. I give Villa a chance. I think they'll score against Arsenal. Arsenal on their last 2 road matches have dropped points in a 2-2 draw at Sunderland, a 1-1 draw at Chelsea when Chelsea were down to 10 men. positives for Arsenal as well. Odegaard come back last night. Gyökeres made a substitution appearance. You've got Havertz almost pushing for a starting lineup as well. But it's that defensive frailties that I'm worried about here and the players they're missing from a defensive point of view. On the money line, you've got to go -112 for Arsenal. I would look to oppose that. And my way of getting in this match and my way of thinking is Villa on the double chance at -114. So it's essentially you're going to take Arsenal to win or you're going to take Villa in the draw, and you're getting roughly the same price. And that is really where the betting market is sitting on this match. Decide which way you want to go. And for me, I think Aston Villa at home, full of confidence, huge amount of confidence to come back what they did against Brighton, gives them great think going forward. And Watkins scoring again. This is a tough test for Arsenal, and it wouldn't surprise me to see it be a draw. So I would go for Villa double chance here at -114.
Villa have overachieved like mad on expected goals and points metrics, Jack, as I think we've mentioned before. But sometimes some teams are just good like that. They just do. They've got outstanding players, and Martinez might be one of the reasons that Villa do grab more points than maybe their underlying metrics suggest. We don't know if he's going to play, as Nigel points out here. You have gone down the similar path here, but this is a crucial little anomaly on the Bet Rivers website. Don't bet draw double chance. Bet Asian line, Jack.
Yeah, -103 plus half a goal Aston Villa. For all those reasons that Nigel's outlined there. I'll try and think of a couple of others that haven't been covered already. But I think one thing is this defence that Villa have created now is sensational. Second only, as far as home record is concerned, to Arsenal. And they've got more continuity at this moment in time there as well, other than the goalkeeper, of course. What I would say is they can't afford to make a start like they made against Brighton, conceding a couple of goals. Saying that, the goalkeeper pulled off a fantastic save right at the death, which and those 3 points. He could have dropped a couple if he hadn't made that save. It was a great save from Welbeck, tipped it over the bar. So hopefully that'll give him the confidence going into this one. And also Arsenal were 2 up against Villa last time they met, and Villa came back in that one to tie that one 2-2. So they've got some good scope there. And I think when you talk about the underlying numbers, it's just that season started so terribly, didn't they? They didn't score for like 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Don't even get a win for 5 weeks. And they've been playing catch up, and they've done it sensationally well. Third in the table. They've also been scoring a lot of goals from outside the box as well. Prior to last night, I think it was 9 or 16 was outside the box, which would be low expected goals, and therefore would be built into those metrics. So the home record for me is the key that Nigel touched on. I don't need to repeat the stats on that one, but it is sensational. Just one defeat in the last 31 across all competitions for them. And I think I mentioned it last time of Arteta going to Stamford Bridge, Chelsea, that he does tend to give a lot of respect to the bigger sides and the better sides at home. And effectively is a little bit like, I'm going to take what we've got. If we can get anything more than that, that's a bonus. But we don't want to lose to these sides and give them any ground on us, especially with that buffer at the top of the table. And that's how I take it. And this, of course, is the early kickoff in the UK, which I think also will bend itself into being more of a tighter, with this quick turnaround, a tighter game.
-110 now, Dan, both of them. So when we looked at the website, we looked at the difference apart, but they're essentially the same bet. So
they're exactly the same bet. A lot of the time, they're the same price. Sometimes they're not. Worth checking both the Asian line and the draw double chance. Or sometimes I don't know why, but the algo doesn't catch up with market moves from I don't know. Anyway, a couple of leans from the boys in the main game, and as someone said on the YouTube comments, bet the leans, because these boys have been absolutely flying this season. Let's get to Manchester City versus Sunderland, 10 a.m. On Saturday morning Eastern. City are very short here, -420. Pep Roulette was no more in midweek. Started the same side as he did against Fulham as he did against Leeds. But another wild game here. I don't know what to take out of it, Nigel, for this one. Just a lean from you. I mean, winning by the odd goal in 9 and hanging on at the end at Craven Cottage. What do we do here? We betting City on an Asian line to cover it? I don't know.
I mean, it was a wild game, wasn't it? 5-4 coming back from that Fulham. If they got back something from there, it would have been quite incredible. And obviously, we forget about the fact they were 2-0 up against Leeds, and Leeds had the much better of the second half and could have won that match, and they had to rely on a late goal to win it for them. Obviously, I think here, they're a very short price, Man City, -420. Sunderland obviously went to Liverpool in midweek, got a draw, but do you really, the way Liverpool are playing, are you looking, that 2 points drop for Sunderland? A silly thing to say, but, it's the way Liverpool are playing. I look at this market and I think it's quite difficult because City have got so many goals in them, and they concede. They've conceded in 7 of their last 8 matches. The only team who didn't score against them was Liverpool, so it shows you the crisis that Liverpool are having there as well. But on the flip side to that, Sunderland's last 7 matches, 6 of them on the road, 7 matches on the road, 6 of them have seen under 2.5 goals. So it's like they counteract each other really here. I think the angle that, if I'd be very amazed if he goes with the same team again, because the reason I think team news and I think team selections here is going to be crucial is because Manchester City have to go to Real Madrid in midweek, and that is the biggest game of the midweek card, and he will have one eye on that, obviously, with his Barcelona hat on as well. It's a huge, huge match for him, not only in historically, but as where his Man City side are placed at this moment in time. So that is definitely going to be the forefront of Pep's mind here. So I do expect changes, and I do expect a lot of these players, Foden, Haaland, Doku, his attacking players, to come off if the game is wrapped up. And I think that's a real big concern. So I was looking at Foden again. I know Jack pointed it out in midweek.
Another lean that one.
Yeah, and I think Foden would be a good angle for any time goal scorer and assist. But there is a concern for me that he may rest them with Real Madrid coming up. So I would probably keep my powder dry on this one until the teams come out.
Jack, you have got an angle in. You have got an official play, albeit half you.
Yeah, so this is where the new system's coming into effect. So I've actually got 4 official plays this week, but I'm only risking 2 units. It's kind of more of how I bet normally, lower stakes, and the fact that we're going to spread that across mainly plus money plays. So a couple will generate profit. But I've gone with both teams to score yes in this. This is actually the only minus money play that I'll put forward as an official, half a unit on that at minus 103. For pretty much those reasons as well, the fact that Manchester City here have got other fish to fry as such. So be it they rest from the get-go, or be it they get a comfortable lead and then rest. But this Sunderland side can't be taken lightly either. And when you look at City over the course of the season so far, their defensive results haven't been as good as you would expect a side as good as Manchester City to be. Only 5 clean sheets in 14 league games so far. Both teams score yes has cashed in 4 of the last 5 league games, including that absolutely crazy game there. But we've seen it. Last couple of games look like they're in control, and they lose control, unravel. And Sunderland, are just going to be that intense side that will keep going. And I think that the stylistics of this game suits itself to Sunderland as well. They know City are going to have the ball. They know City are going to come and attack them, and they can hit them on the break and in transition. They were unlucky not to beat Liverpool, not only because they were leading until very late, but they hit the bar a couple of times. They had one cleared off the line right at the death as well. So they had their chances, and they know how to hurt teams, even the best out there as well. City also allow a lot of shots inside the box. 129 shots allowed this season is quite low, but 74% are inside the box. So they're giving up big chances, and Sunderland have shown they can take them as well. So for them, both teams have scored cashed in 5 of the last 6. They've got confidence. They've still got that momentum. They carry a threat as well. And so they generated lots of chances, and they've also been to Chelsea, we know that, and got that big result at Chelsea as well. So they're not daunted by these sides. They've got Xhaka in the middle of the park that is really influencing them. They're a strong counter-attacking side, and I think they've got an opportunity to at least score against City here, who you would expect to score as well in this. So both teams to score, which I'll put forward as another lean for Sunderland at Liverpool. That cashed as well, so I'm looking to keep that trend going here and making it official this time.
Half of you, both teams to score yes, minus 103. Let's get a plus money play from Jack, shall we? Leeds Liverpool is the next game we can take a look at. Leeds plus 310, Liverpool minus 127. Leeds went 3-5-2 for the first time this season against Chelsea. Chelsea played Tosin and Badiashile at the back. Fofana didn't play, Reece James didn't play. But Leeds took advantage. And Liverpool are a similar price against Leeds. I don't really get this one, Jack. For me, I've got a side with Leeds somehow. Are you fading Liverpool here? What's the half you play?
Yeah, you got to fade Liverpool. I think the value's just there. Leeds plus half a goal, Asian handicap, plus 105. Again, half a unit on it because I like a few plays this week, but not wanting to put too many chips on the table, as you'd say. But home advantage for Leeds is crucial. We saw it last night. The crowd get bang up for their games, and they've been relatively strong at home. They need to be. They are poor on the road. The promoted sides, we're seeing them having a real good go in the league this season, but generally built around strong home form. And I think Daniel Farke, under pressure, that was a massive result for him last night. Regardless of Chelsea rotating, they still were a strong side. And Leeds took advantage of that. And he also tweaked his system, kind of caved a little bit, stopped being quite so stubborn, and might have stumbled across a really good template to go and perform well in the Premier League. 3 big, strong, tall centre-backs, legs in the middle of the park, lots of energy and creativity as well, and 2 willing workers up top who chased and harried and did everything they could do, and then obviously got on the score sheet as well and scored 3 goals. So fair play to them on that. And look, the pressure is on huge on Liverpool here. Is this going to be Arne Slot's last game in charge? Might well be. Oh, you know what I mean? I've spoke to Liverpool fans this morning that have said, look, he's just got to go. It's just got to that point where he's lost the dressing room. You know, and the interesting thing, Jamie Carragher obviously talks a lot about Liverpool. His quotes last night about the game just resonated. Any team that does the basics right have got a chance of winning against this Liverpool side, is what he said. And he finished that by saying that side last night against Sunderland lacked energy, zip, pace and power. So it all looks a real shambles for them at this moment in time. So Leeds avoid defeat in this one, and we cash the ticket in full at plus money. That's the play for me. Half a unit plus 105.
Nigel, are we fading Liverpool with Jack here? You're getting with Leeds at plus 310. What's the angle for you?
Yeah, my only worry is that Leeds can they replicate what they did in midweek? And it was such a passionate crowd. You know, they were pumped up for the match. I know Liverpool are coming to town, but I think it's very, very hard to replicate those kind of atmospheres back to back in matches. And I do think there could be a little bit of a lull. But obviously, on current form, you've got to give Leeds huge amount of respect, and they're not being respected in the market at plus 310. You know, Liverpool have lost 9 of their last 12 in all competitions, which is absolutely incredible. They've gone to Palace, got beat, Chelsea got beat, Brighton got beat, Man City got beat. So there's problems there, huge problems as we're aware of. He doesn't know his best team. He doesn't know the formation to play. He's got no idea how to fit these players into systems. Ekitike was Liverpool's best player at the start of the season and can't get in the team.
Yeah.
He's got the pressure. He's got to go with Isaac, who clearly was awful in midweek, awful. The best player for Liverpool the last 2 games has been Florian Wirtz, actually. And, you know, he's everyone's talking about the £100 million flop, but he's probably been their most creative player. And, you know, plus 280 to score any time he did score, you know, last night. So that could be an interest for me. I just worry about Leeds being able to raise the levels again. If they can, and they can make the crowd get absolutely pumped up behind them, then plus 0.75 on the Asian handicap for Leeds is a great bet. I wouldn't be betting Liverpool, even though at minus 127. There is sometimes where you look at price and think, if it gets to a kind of price, I've got to get involved, and that price would probably be minus 110 if you spoke to a lot of bettors. But this Liverpool side, I just don't think I could even risk it at minus 110. There's something clearly wrong. I don't think the players are playing for the manager. I think he's fallen out with Salah. I think Salah going off to the AFCON could be the best thing that happened to Liverpool at this moment in time, which everyone thought was going to be a problem for them. But I think it could be the best thing. And they've got to go to Inter Milan in midweek, and that is Inter Milan are currently plus 140 to beat Liverpool at the San Siro. That just seems like a gift. But I'd be fading Leeds at plus. I'd be fading Liverpool and getting with Leeds at plus 0.75. But I would be worried that if they can keep that massive levels and make it as intimidating as they did against Chelsea last night.
You mentioned Ekitike. If you played Liverpool when he starts games, you're in front. One of the few players you are in Liverpool colours. It's odd that he doesn't play, isn't it? Because
he doesn't know the system. He doesn't know the players. He's got all these players. They're all attacking players. He doesn't know how to fit them in. He's spent a load of money on players, you know, FIFA style players, and they don't know what they're doing. Really, they don't know how to the system or what they're doing. Defensively, they're leaking goals. They're in trouble.
Speaking about buying lots of players, let's get to Chelsea's game at Bournemouth, shall we? This is 10 a.m. Saturday Eastern. Bournemouth plus 235. Nigel, Chelsea plus 110. Chelsea brilliant against Arsenal, poor against Leeds. They swapped out their centre-backs. We mentioned that before. I mean, I couldn't believe that team. And I know you put them up as part of your parlay, but there's no way you would. I mean, no one was betting them. They drifted like mad. They were around about even money, I think, on kickoff. Because although Chelsea have got a big squad, you know, you dig underneath it, and certainly defensively, they haven't got the strength in depth. No one's betting them at plus 110. Casado's still out. No one's betting them at plus 110. Nigel, are you betting them at plus 110?
Well, they're plus. Well, I don't know. Really. I mean, I probably wouldn't know. The only worry is Bournemouth are shocking as well at the moment in time. I mean, they've lost their last 5 matches. They've conceded so many goals. Awful performance against Everton at home. I know they've been pretty solid at home. And I've got a theory on Bournemouth. I think this is quite interesting. I spoke to a friend of mine, who's a journalist, and he's a Liverpool fan, and he's involved at Liverpool, and he reckons that Iraola from Bournemouth is the man that Liverpool will probably go for if they get rid of Slot. So that I reckon there's probably sort of some talkings around Bournemouth, and that Liverpool might be sniffing around him, and obviously they're after Semenyo as well. He's linked with a move to Liverpool as a replacement for Salah in the January transfer, and I think that speculation has been the reason why they've gone on this no wins in 5. It's not coincidence that Liverpool are having a wobble. The manager's he's been bet now into clear second favourite to be the next Liverpool manager, round about 5-1. Jurgen Klopp is the favourite to return, which he might do to the end of the season, and then they might go for Iraola. But I mean, you can see why the drop off is when players get linked with big clubs, and that is a massive worry for Bournemouth. So they need to sort that out pretty much and get back to winning ways. They're just conceding goals. They don't look the side that they were. Semenyo has been non-existent for the last 3 or 4 matches. And Chelsea, however much defensively, I think you give them. I think the first one, Maresca underrated Leeds, massively underrated, and put out a team that he thought he could win out and got it completely wrong. But the energy levels that they used up against, in hindsight, I was chatting to a guy last night about betting Chelsea. I bet Chelsea last night before the team news come out. And he was saying to me, well, didn't you get the amount of energy they went through with 10 men and put it all in against Arsenal? They were pumped up for that much. It was very hard for them to do that again at Leeds. And he absolutely got it right. I think there will be a bounce back performance from Chelsea here. Would I bet them at plus 110? No. But I do expect them to come back to some form. Cole Palmer, obviously, in the starting lineup here, he'll play. And I think it's a really good time to play Bournemouth while this speculation mounts. And, there's going to be more speculation on the players leaving after what Liverpool did last night at home to Sunderland. So I don't know if this is it the same time as the Liverpool match, or is it after the Liverpool match? I don't know. So I think that might be important.
It's before.
Sorry, it's before. So there's no relevance to that whatsoever. If it was after and Liverpool got beat, then Bournemouth, then they sacked Slot, then there would be higher profile on the Bournemouth manager and their best player to move across to Liverpool. So interesting one for me. I probably wouldn't have a bet, but I think if Chelsea drifted to a little bit bigger, plus 120, plus 125, I probably would bet them actually.
Jack, no one's betting Chelsea at plus 110. What's your lean?
Well, I'm not officially betting them, no, but I've leaned on Chelsea. For those reasons, really, I think I want to fade Bournemouth. This is a bit similar to, if you remember last show, you said about Wolves and no one's betting Forest at plus money. And I said, well, I just want to go against Wolves.
You did. You were right. Yeah, you were right.
And that was that. And it's a similar thing.
I was wrong. I lost money. Thanks.
I say it's not an official one, it's the lead, because we want to try and put something forward, don't we, in these situations. And I think it's a case that looking at Bournemouth, Semenyo, a shadow of the player at this moment in time, lots of conjecture about it, lots of players missing. They can't handle it quite as much as the other sides. And I do expect a bounce back from Chelsea. They'll demand it. Maresca knows he's going to have to deliver it. That was a disappointing result to have lost there. And they've had the highs. And so Nigel pointed out there, he's said the same thing, like Barcelona, Arsenal, Leeds, and you'd expect that roller coaster to come back up again here. So, yeah, a lean only. And I say if they do drift further, that might become an interesting. But at this moment in time, one to look out for on team news, like we talked about at the top of the show, for certain here. But a lean on Chelsea to win.
Spurs Brentford next, all London affair here. Thomas Frank against his former club, Nigel, which adds something. I don't know if it's a positive or a negative for Spurs bettors or indeed Spurs fans. I mean, you talk about Slot out the door. I mean, Frank's going to follow him out the door, isn't he? Unless Spurs improve sometime soon. Plus 123. Your player or a layer with that one. What do you think? Saturday 10 a.m.
Well, they've only won, 2 matches they've run at home, or 3 matches at home in 2025. Tottenham. So if you're betting them at plus 123 in the whole of the calendar year at home, you're not going to be you're not going to be in having much money to have any wages this weekend. I mean, I think with Tottenham, you look at it and think they've got to come good at some stage, but have they? I mean, they're a bang average team. You look at the players they're missing. We've said it long, but they're missing all their key players. They look tired, they look leggy, and Thomas Frank just looks totally out of his depth. I mean, I know they got a 2-2 draw against Newcastle, but how they won, they didn't get beat there is beyond me. And at home, they just drift every single week in the betting markets. Nobody wants to bet them. No one wants to touch them. Brentford, though, do all their best work at home. On the road, they're awful. They've lost 6 of their 7 road matches. I've seen them twice on the road this season. Both of them resulted in 2-0 losses against Crystal Palace and Arsenal. and they were pretty bang average, really, on both occasions. But then you see them at home, and they're smashing 4 goals, Thiago scoring goals, totally different team. I do think Brentford have a little bit of sort of wanting to upmanship here on Thomas Frank, and I think it's a good time to face Tottenham. So at plus 123, no way could I be betting Tottenham at plus 123. But saying that, would I want to be betting a team at plus 215 who've lost 6 of 7 road matches? Yeah. So the draw, to me, would be a lean. One concerning thing for Tottenham is not only the losing games, it's the performances. The performances have been dreadful. In their last 3 matches, combined XG, XG is not really my thing, but this is very, it shows you how bad they are. 1.68 combined XG across 3 matches for them. And one of them were at home to Fulham. It's not, them 2-0 down early in that match. Tottenham are in a mess. Thomas Frank's out of his depth. And I think Brentford, up against their former manager, will fancy this. And I think you'll see a much better performance than you saw from Brentford. And all the big guns back for this one. They were all rested for the game against Arsenal. So at the odds, got to get with Brentford more than Tottenham. But I think it's a tricky one to go. The draw, small lean.
Yeah, look, Jack, as Nigel mentioned right at the top of the show, 5 changes. The big guns are going to come back here. The likes of Henderson and Collins and Damsgaard. And another player that you like for a half-U play.
Half-unit on Igor Thiago, to score any time, plus 120. I wanted to side with Brentford, but can't really pull the trigger given their away form. But say Spurs are there to be got at, especially at home where they've been woeful. And I agree totally. These Brentford players that are left will be bang up for really embarrassing Thomas Frank here, having jumped ship and gone to Tottenham and struggled. And again, Nigel's made a point that XG, they've been poor XG all season so far, Tottenham, and they're now regressing back to where they should be as far as that league table is concerned. A real smash and grab raid for a point against Newcastle where they should have been put out of sight. An overhead kick from your centre-back 6 minutes into added on time, which rolled down his shin. Yeah, that's an interesting one to get a point in it, but there we go. Thiago for me, the reasons behind it is shot volume and expected goals are absolutely elite. Yes, a lot of that XG is down to penalties he's on, but that's not a problem. We'll take that because we've seen Spurs gave away that one at the in midweek from that set piece. They're rotating those central defenders. There's injury and fitness concerns with those, so that will make them a bit susceptible. 32 shots for Thiago this season, behind only Haaland, Mateta, Gakpo and Salah. Only Haaland and Mateta can top his 19 shots on target, and only Haaland has scored more than his 11 goals. He scored in 4 of his 7 on the road as well, so it's not just home games for him. He is scoring, although they're getting beaten, but he's their talisman now. He's their main focal point. Everything goes through him. He's the guy in the centre that they look to try and hit. Set pieces, open play. He's the guy that's got to finish the chances off. And they are a top-ranking set-piece team. They've obviously got a set-piece coach as their manager, and we know Spurs are not the best in that respect. And so they're rotating defenders makes it even worse. And you mentioned it there. He was rested for Arsenal, came on for the last half hour, but he will be bang up for this one. Straight in the side, back in again. And you look at Spurs' concession rate, 10 goals conceded in the last 4 league games, 15 in 5 across all competitions. And they've been shocking at home in those 7 league games. No clean sheets since the opening day of the season, which was that only win. And Brentford, despite being poor on the road, have only failed to score once, and that was at Palace. And we know how good they are defensively.
That's Jack's thoughts on the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Just to pick up on what Nigel was talking about, just looking at some XG stats for the Premier League since the start of November. Tottenham are bottom. Great shout. I mean, they're just not creating anything. You're right. Madison's out. 1 or 2 others, Kulusevski and Solanke, as we know. Let's move on. Newcastle, Burnley.
We could still cash on the Solanke top Tottenham goal
Yeah,
scorer
we
if they get it back by Christmas.
He
He missed half the season. He can still win it. He can still win
He's
it.
still alive.
Mad.
Newcastle, Burnley, 10 a.m. on Saturday. We've got another official play from Jack here, another plus money play. Newcastle are minus 385. Burnley, 11 to 1 shots. Newcastle good at home, apart from when we were on in midweek. They've been sort of swapping out their sort of midfielders. Guimaraes didn't start in midweek. Tonali didn't start the previous game. So Eddie Howe, he's rotating a little bit. Is that going to be an issue for those that want to go in at heavy odds on, heavy minus money? Jack, what's your play in this one?
I'm kind of taking them on to a certain degree. I'm going for both teams to score, yes, in this one at plus 110. There's a fair amount of risk when you look at the bets on paper from the ones I've put forward this week, hence why I've gone with a lower risk as far as the unit's concerned, but they're bets I really am strongly liking and what I can just consider to be value. So hence why I've gone about it that particular way. And you're right. I spoke to our good Geordie friend Paul Hughes again yesterday just to get a sense check on what's going on the hitman on Newcastle. And yeah, Tonali's fitness issues. He only made 45 minutes. Kamara started on the bench and came on. So that's a key area of our team as well. Joe Linton's been pushed through the mill at the minute there. But Newcastle home matches have a strong tendency for both teams to score. 5 of 7 cash in for both teams to score. We know how they like to play. High attacking intensity, pressing high, attacking all the time. Does leave themselves susceptible on the counter attack, which is how Burnley will set up about this. And they are the best Premier League side for both teams to score on the road. 6 of their 7 road trips have cashed. Both clean sheets they've kept have come at home and against newly promoted sides. So expect them to concede, obviously here, but I do fancy they can score. They've got a very open midfield. They're vulnerable defensively, but they do create chances and are scoring them. And Newcastle have been allowing big chances as well. But when you look at who Burnley have played, that's where my confidence comes from. It's not they've been playing the lower ranked sides. They've already been to Man United, Manchester City, Aston Villa and Brentford and seen this bet cash in all of those games, as well as games at Wolves and West Ham. So plus money for me. This is effectively, I reckon, just on Burnley scoring, but you're getting a better bang for your buck by going both teams to score than for Burnley to score a goal. It's plus 110, so another half unit for me on it.
I bet Burnley on the handicap in midweek. Palace did me. Nigel, can Burnley cover a handicap mark here? What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, you've always got a chance if they score. They've always got a chance on the handicap. They scored in 6 of their 7 road matches, as Jack said. All those road matches have been over 2.5 goals. I like goals here. Over 2.5 is minus 167, though. It's very, very short. Newcastle scored in every one of their home matches this season. They've played 11 games, scored in every one. They've scored 2 or more in 8 of their 9, 8 of the last 9. And if you look at Burnley have conceded at least 3 goals in 5 of their road matches this season. In 7 road matches, they've conceded at least 3 goals. So I looked at Newcastle to score 2 or more goals, which was plus 112. So I thought Newcastle would score. I could see Newcastle winning this 3-1, 4-1, something like that, which would cash on both of those bets. My only worry for Newcastle, 2 massive matches coming up in the space of next week. Leverkusen away over in Germany in the Champions League, and then away to Sunderland in the North East Derby. So my worry here would be that Eddie Howe gets that lead again. And I use this sort of phrase quite a lot, and some people think, oh, he's gone on about it again. But I do think when you have big matches like Champions League matches and this time of year, I think you would want to rest your key players. And I think if Newcastle do get a couple of goals up, they may just sit back and say, well, we'll take the 2-0 or 2-1, whatever it is. So, yeah, lean for me, plus 112. I have decided I am like the match of the day of this panel, because I always have my bets on the last 2 matches, like the one that gets no coverage on match of the day. So bear with me if you are waiting for some bets. I will have some, but they're in the dullest matches and in the horrible conditions and awful 0-0. So they're coming. We put this in list of order of the most sort of exciting matches top and the least glamorous at the bottom. You might as well just come to me at the end for my bets. They're always in the least glamorous.
It's nice that we're not on the same bets this week. It makes a change, doesn't it?
That's good. It's good.
Well, I was going to say Nigel's plays have been conspicuous by their absence, but don't worry, Seeley fans, because they're on because they're on
my mum.
They're on their way, Mrs. Seeley. Get your coupon out now. Everton against Forest.
Here we go. This is it. This is my kind of game.
I wonder where this one's going.
Everton are plus 114 here. Forest are plus 260. Saturday, 10 a.m. Sean Dyche going back to his former club here. I'm not rushing to bet Everton at plus 114. Only short against West Ham at home this season. And they drew that game. What's the angle in for a 1-1, Nigel?
Well, listen, forget about, the El Clasico. Forget about your big matches at the Aston Villa, the Arsenal. This is it. This is David Moyes up against Sean Dyche. I mean, this is what football's all about for me. In horrible, rainy, wet Merseyside, this is it. Well, you can see, I'm going to tell you some stats here. 8 of the last 10 matches between these two sides without these managers in charge have been both teams to scores. No, 9 of the last 10 between these two sides under 2.5 goals has cashed. The last 4 Forest matches, both teams to scores have been a no. The last 5 away Forest matches, both teams have scored no. Last 4 between these two in the Premier League was under 2.5 and both teams to score no. I'm going for over 4.5 goals. No, I'm not. I am... I looked at the under 2.5 goals. It's minus 143, but both teams to score no is minus 112. And obviously, with the 2 price, I'm going to go with both teams to score no at minus 112. I'll be amazed if there's more than 2 goals in this match. Hopefully, not 1-1. But I think that it's going to be what it is. A battle between Moyes and Dyche is going to be a tough one, and not a really exciting watch. Obviously, Dyche is going back, but he's not going back essentially because it's a new stadium, a new club. It's going to be strange for him. It's not going to be at his old club, seeing the surroundings, new people in charge at Everton Football Club as well. But I just think this has got everything about being a dull match, and I'm back to my sort of standard kind of bets. Both teams to score no. Everton v Forest. Can't see many goals at all in this one.
Jack, you're on the same train here.
Same bet, yeah, same thought process, same working out. And you look at the goal scoring efforts of the sides. Only Wolves have scored fewer goals than Forest, 14 in 14. Only Burnley and Wolves have scored fewer than Everton at home. So, yeah, this one's a low scorer, and I thought the same thing, under 2.5 goals, but that price then lent itself to go, well, the only way we don't win that is this being 1-1. So, both teams score no, my lean as well at minus 112.
It is minus 112. Sunday, 9 a.m. Deal with this one quickly. Brighton, West Ham. Brighton minus 186. Nigel, West Ham plus 460. Brighton squandered that 2-goal lead against Villa. We're yet to see how West Ham fare against United. Give us your brief thoughts on this one.
Well, it's difficult, obviously, without the Manchester United game to sort of to sum up. West Ham pretty outpour against Liverpool there for the taking. The last what we did see of them. I would expect this one to produce goals. That's where I was looking at it. If you look at the last 4 matches between them, all of them have cashed over 2.5 goals, and all of them have cashed over 3.5. So you could ladder this one up. I expect a bounce back from Brighton. They've got no problem scoring goals. Their problem is conceding at the moment. And West Ham is a leaky defence who don't deal with any balls coming into the box or any kind of defensive frailties that West Ham have. So over 2.5 goals was minus 162. I think that would probably cash, but it's a bit too low. But if you want to go over 3.5 to boost that up, that is what I would suggest.
Yeah, you could boost it up in a different way, though, Jack, couldn't you?
Yeah, same way thinking, just a different route in. Over 2.5 goals, and both teams to score at minus 120. We know Brighton tend to concede goals, only 1 clean sheet. This best bet is cashed in 5 of that 6. West Ham, no clean sheet under Nuno, which is something of a surprise, but maybe he's realised that you can't polish something that's not very shiny. So, yeah, but they scored in 3 of his 4 road trips. Arsenal, the only blank there. So, both teams to score. Yes, has landed in 11 of the last 15 meetings and in 5 of the last 6 here, with this bet cashed in the last 2. Last head-to-head was in April. It ended 3-2, so we'll take more of that, please.
Nigel's next official play comes in the main game this weekend in the UK in terms of television scheduling. It is Sunday 11:30, so 4:30 UK. Fulham against Crystal Palace. I don't think there's ever been a Super Sunday fixture in this country, Nigel, before. Fulham are plus 160. Palace 175 here, which is interesting. Look, I keep on fading Palace. I don't know how they won in midweek, but they did. Fulham with that incredible not comeback against City. You've got another 1U on the line here.
Yeah, I'm going on to keep continuing to fade of Palace for the reasons that I've stated for the last couple of weeks. I mean, that performance against Burnley was probably one of their worst performances of the season so far. And if Burnley could put the ball in the back of net at home, they would have won that match. I mean, Crystal Palace are there for the taking. If someone goes at Crystal Palace, I think they're there for the taking. So many matches they play, and as I keep saying, there was 8 matches in December. They have a big match, not in terms of a glamour tie, but for the fans. I mean, I know so many Palace fans who can't wait for this match when the draw was coming. They're playing Shelbourne in the Europa Conference on Thursday. A lot of the boys are going over to Ireland to enjoy that. So it's a big match, not in terms of the glamour of the tie, but, in England against Ireland clash there is a big thing in Europe. So that is a big match for them. This is a London derby. And I think if anybody has a go at that Palace at the moment in time, I think that they can breach that rear guard defence, which is what's keeping them going. Their strength in the defence is their goalkeeper is what's keeping them going at the moment. If you can get goals against them, and this Fulham side can, they scored 4 goals against Manchester City. My only worry is how much left have Fulham got in the tank after that match against Man City, which is a worry because that was a wild game. And their second half comeback in there would have taken a lot out of them. And then to play this one straight, of a few days rest is something I would worry about. Iwobi, Smith Rowe got on the score sheets. They'll cause Palace problems. But I do think Palace are going to come a cropper sooner or rather later. I think their performance levels in the matches, their last few matches, they were awful against Wolves, 1-2-0, awful against Strasbourg, awful second half against Manchester United, and bad yesterday, really bad yesterday against Burnley. So their last 4 matches, and the draw against Brighton was poor as well. So it's got to take this toll at some stage, and I would love them to be playing like a Nottingham Forest away. That would be my kind of, I'd have gone on the money line, but I just worry how much Fulham have got in the tank after that crazy match. Plus 160 on the money line for Fulham, but I'm going for a little bit more insurance. I'm betting Fulham draw no bet and minus 127. The only problem for Palace, well, Fulham have a very, very good, Palace have a very good record in this fixture. They do usually beat them, but I think the timing is perfect to face Palace.
Henderson, Munoz, Mitchell, Richards, Lacroix, Gay have started every single Premier League game bar one. Gay's missed one game. That was the Brighton home draw.
And the Cups and the Carabao Cup.
Well, I know that. I know. I mean, there's been a little bit of rotation in Europe, but generally
and
these players are
Community
just getting
Shield,
into
Community
the ground
Shield.
here.
They played the Community Shield. They played the Europe on a Thursday night, and they're in the quarterfinals of the Cup against Arsenal in a couple of weeks' time as well.
It's an incredible thing that Glaston's doing. I know he's been complaining about it a little bit, but he did the same sort of thing. Was it at Frankfurt? I can't remember where he was, and he won the Europa League doing it. Anyway, Jack, lean from you on this one, Fulham Palace.
Yeah, it's just on a similar thought process, really, that they're going to struggle going forward. It's both seems to score no, but I've got the double-edged sword as far as that they can keep sides quiet. But yeah, I'd fancy Fulham to edge this one. But I've gone both seems to score no at minus 105, despite that chaos at Craven Cottage last time out for Fulham. Both teams to score no as cashed in 4 of 7. And they did rank in the top 5 for their defensive processes prior to that game. So I think we'll pop that down as a bit of an anomaly. And this bet has cashed in the last 3 meetings. It's cashed in 6 of the last 8 and 8 of the last 11. So I'm going with the trend. And on the basis of a heavy congestion of fixtures, this could be a little bit of a tight and dour affair.
Monday night soccer, 3 p.m. Monday, Wolves, Manchester United. Wolves plus 325, United minus 132. We'll get Jack's thoughts on this one first up. You've got just a lean on this one, Jack, for us.
Yeah, again, Man United obviously play after we recorded this, so we'll see what they turn up with. But even if whatever they do, we don't know what they're going to follow it up with. That's just kind of how they have been this season. Wolves just been atrocious. We've talked about it, the fact that you just fade and blind, but you can't be back at Man United at that price. They were minus 120 for this last season, plus 146 the season before that, and that game ended 4-3. I think the last time they were close to this price was 2021, but it's not really ever been that way since Wolves have been back in the Premier League. I've just gone wild with this, bit rogue in the fact that, you know, Wolves just haven't been able to score a goal, let alone get a positive result. That's got to change at some point in time. So I'm thinking they might well scrape one from a set piece or something like that against the Man United side that have conceded in every road trip this season. So I'm going with one of their big centre-backs, Emmanuel Agbadou, to score or assist at plus 750 as a very, very tentative lean based on the fact that he's 6'4". They'll throw some balls into the box. Man United can be a little bit shaky when it comes to defending them. He's already had a few shots against sides similar to Man United defending set pieces. 1 goal and 4 assists in 60 in France when he's in Ligue 1 there. 1 goal in 16 appearances last season. So we would say he's possibly due. He's averaging around about 1 or the other in every 12 games, and he's had 8 attempts at goal in his 11 appearances so far this season. So let's see if we can either flick one on for someone to score one himself at big odds, plus 750.
Agbadou, will he score against? Oh, there he goes. It's X Factor ringing up.
Yes. What? Score against Man U? It even rhymes. Cool.
Agbadou, he's going to score against Man U. Oh, what's going on here?
Christmas number 1.
Simon? Is that Agbadou? Push pineapple, grind coffee.
Yes, him.
Both teams. Ask Nigel. Okay. Nigel, what have you got for this one?
I have got to go. Well, I can't bet Man United. I'm giving up on Man United. There's no way I bet Man United at minus 130 But how can you bet Wolves at plus 325? Only 2 points, no win, no goals in 5. The manager's coming. He knows he's going to be a championship manager next season. I was looking actually at United to win to 0 at plus 215 because I know they're defensively awful, but you know Wolves just don't score goals. I think that it's set up for Cunha, isn't it? Cunha to come back, against his former club, get the goal, get Man United to win, plus 145, not celebrate. And the way he left Wolves as well, the fans weren't happy, and it wouldn't be surprised me to see him come back, Kuna, and score against his former club, plus 145 anytime.
Great stuff. Nigel, Jack, thanks for your company. Good luck to one and all. We keep everyone updated via our X feeds. I've just got to speak to someone who says I've been in an accident recently. That's a wrap.
That's tomorrow at the Christmas party. Saturday. Say, call me back on Saturday morning, please.
That is a wrap.
You're driving that car as well tomorrow. You're in a road accident tomorrow.
Or someone who wants to sell me insurance. What's my broadband deal these days? Anyway, that is a wrap for Betting Weekly Premier League show. Get your comments in on YouTube. Always great to hear who you're betting, who you're fading over the course of this weekend. Yeah, stay close to our Instagram feed, I guess, Nigel, if you're putting things up on that for our Friday Christmas do.
And the Advent calendar.
Oh, the Advent calendar, yeah. We're winning money on the Advent calendar.
Do you know what I thought you were going to do then, Jack? I thought you were going to pull out an Advent calendar.
Oh, no, not yet.
No. Yeah, watch out for that. Plenty of content coming your way from the boys over the course of the next few days and the weekend. Don't forget, of course, we've got our live show as well. But from all of us from today, it is goodbye. Have a good betting weekend.